Gaurav. It is indeed an honor and a privilege to be here today at the significant one-day workshop dedicated to discussing the role of public policy and finance in advancing the welfare of tribal communities and ensuring inclusive growth. This gathering brings together policymakers, scholars, community leaders and stakeholders who have long been committed to uplifting tribal populations and addressing the challenges they face in the socio-economic landscape. As we stand at a crucial juncture in our country's development trajectory, it is imperative that we reassess our approaches and reinforce our commitment to fostering holistic and sustainable growth for our indigenous communities. For centuries, tribal communities have long been the custodians of rich cultural heritage, traditional wisdom, and sustainable practices. But despite their invaluable contributions, they have remained on the periphery of economic and social progress. Historical marginalization and inadequate access to essential services have often placed them at the periphery of economic and social progress. While constitutional safeguards and affirmative actions have been implemented, the stark reality remains that many tribal regions still grapple with poverty, illiteracy, malnutrition, and limited access to opportunities. The need of the hour is a focused and well-financed policy framework that not only addresses these gaps but also integrates tribal communities into mainstream economic growth without eroding their unique identity and traditions. Looking back at history, we can see how far we have come in advancing the welfare of tribal communities. Before independence, the tribal development was primarily ameliorative and isolationist, designed by the British to facilitate administration rather than genuinely uplift tribal populations. While efforts were made to protect tribals from exploitation by moneylenders and traders, little was done to strengthen their economy. British policies, particularly in forestry and land revenue, promoted land alienation and served colonial economic interest. Although some Christian missionaries and voluntary organizations introduced literacy and social services, these efforts lacked a comprehensive long-term vision for sustainable tribal development. In contrast, the post-independence approach embraced a growth-oriented strategy focusing on the social economic upliftment of tribal communities. Acknowledging the developmental gap, the government designated scheduled area in areas with significant tribal populations, enabling targeted interventions. A well-structured development plan was formulated incorporating macro and micro level strategies tailored to specific needs. The emphasis shifted towards planned investments, infrastructure development, and socio-economic programs, demonstrating a commitment to integrating tribal communities into mainstream progress while safeguarding their cultural identity. Moving forward, ensuring effective policy implementation and active community participation will be essential in achieving sustainable and inclusive tribal development. In this regard, the role of public policy is indispensable. A well-crafted policy framework must prioritize education, healthcare, livelihood opportunities, and infrastructure development, all while ensuring the preservation of indigenous cultures. Policy should be participatory, where tribal voices are actively included in a decision-making process. Most critical is the financial aspect of tribal welfare. Budgetary allocations, direct benefit transfers, microfinance initiatives, and corporate social responsibility interventions can be leveraged effectively to empower tribal communities. Financial inclusion, access to credit, and promoting self-help groups can significantly enhance economic self-sufficiency. Majority of the poor in tribal areas of the country largely depends on the wages earned through unskilled labor. In the context of poverty and unemployment, welfare programs are considered as most important interventions. Additionally, government and private sector partnership must work towards generating sustainable livelihood options that align with local skill sets and traditional occupations. Program like the Pradhan Mantri Janajati Adivasi Nyaya Maha Abhiyan with a budget of rupees 24,104 crore aims to uplift particularly vulnerable tribal groups by improving access to housing, water, education and sustainable livelihoods. In education, the government has significantly expanded the Ekalavya model residential schools to provide quality schooling for tribal students. Over 780 EMRSs have been sanctioned and the curriculum integrates modern technology, competitive exam posing and skill development. Because of the time, I would like to say about the NHRC, what is taking. As a member of the NHRC, it is my privilege to share that the Commission is actively and diligently working towards the welfare and the upliftment of tribal communities. Safeguarding the rights of tribal communities is an essential responsibility of the National Human Rights Commission. The National Human Rights Commission India is mandated to protect and promote human rights. The NHRC undertakes inquiries into human rights violations either on its own initiative or upon receiving complaints. Recently, NHRC organized an open house discussion on tribal education in India, problems, policies and perspective in hybrid mode at its New Delhi premises. The discussion, chaired by myself, emphasized the urgent need for a cultural sensitive education system that respects and integrates the diverse heritage of tribal communities, and highlighted that despite various government initiatives, tribal communities continue to face barriers such as geographical isolation, language differences, poverty and early marriage, and also stressed that education is a crucial tool for empowering these communities and fostering societal progress. A critical takeaway from the discussion was the urgent need for empirical data to better understand and address the specific educational challenges of tribal communities. The NHRC recommended that universities engage in model tribal-centric research to provide evidence-based solutions. The Commission has also directed the Secretary, Ministry of Tribal Affairs, to take action on 4 petitions concerning the non-implementation of the tribal policy and inaction by the Ministries of Health, Education and Women and Child Development. This directive underscores the NHRC's role in ensuring accountability and policy implementation for the welfare of tribal communities. The NHRC has also been actively supporting research studies on critical issues affecting tribal communities. These include ashram schools, tribal health conditions and tribal rights, particularly the rights to land, education and health care. Additionally, the NHRC organized an open house discussion on the protection of nomadic, semi-nomadic and denotified tribes in India. Focusing on their human rights concerns, key issues included the need for the implementation of the data commission report and mandate commission's report and the repeal of the Habitual Offenders Act 1952, which has long been a source of discrimination against these communities. The discussion highlighted the necessity of concerted efforts and further deliberations to streamline policies and safeguard the rights of denotified tribes, ensuring their inclusion in national development initiative. Dear friends, as we chart the path forward, it is essential to recognize and to acknowledge and learn from the contributions of local heroes, tribal activities, social workers and individuals who have dedicated their lives to the upliftment of tribal communities. Across India, we have seen inspiring examples of tribal activists, social workers and community leaders who have made remarkable strides in education, healthcare and employment generation. Their stories serve as a testament to the resilience and potential within tribal communities and highlight the impact of grassroots initiatives. The objective of this workshop is to facilitate a meaningful dialogue between policymakers, financial experts, tribal representatives, and stakeholders to devise practical and impactful strategies. By bringing together diverse perspectives, we aim to explore solutions that bridge policy gaps, enhance financial support, and create sustainable opportunities for tribal communities. The insights gained from today's discussion should translate into actionable recommendations that can be implemented at both policy and grassroots levels. Before concluding, I would like to say some words to you. Being a member of the National Human Rights Commission, I have visited 34 tribal hostels. जब मैंने गई थी वहाँ पे सिचुएशन देखने के बाद मुझे बहुत बुरा लगा, क्योंकि अपना हमें इंडिपेंडेंस के बाद ट्राइबल एरियाज में अभी भी ट्राइबल हॉस्टल्स में कितना बुरी हालत था बच्चों का। जब मैं गई थी तब नो हेल्थ केयर, नो फूड फॉर देम एंड नो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, नो सिक्योरिटी, एंड दे आर नॉट मेंटेनिंग एनी रजिस्टर्स। बच्चों रो रहे, पानी के लिए रो रहे, खाना के लिए रो रहे, कपड़े के लिए रो रहे, but we are getting so many funds for the tribal hostels. This is the situation I saw with my own eyes. जहाँ पे कलेक्टर ऑफिस रहता है उसके 100 मीटर्स दूर पे हॉस्टल्स है। गुंटूर में मैंने देखा था, ताड़ेपल्लीगुड़े में, कर्नाटका में, केरला में, इंदौर में। मैंने सोचा था इंदौर तो अपना ही, वहाँ पे बहुत सालों से अपना बहुत अच्छे लोग वहाँ पे राज कर रहे हैं, वहाँ पे बहुत अच्छा लगता है सोच के मैंने गई थी। इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बहुत अच्छा है। नो, इट्स अंडर द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट। ट्राइबल हॉस्टल है वो, अंडर द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट। इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बहुत अच्छा है, वो दिखने के लिए हमको मिलता है, बट अंदर जो काम कर रहे कर्मचारी गण है उनके मन में कंपैशन नहीं है। इसीलिए हम ये सब देखना पड़ेगा बच्चों को, जो हमें ट्राइबल हॉस्टल्स के लिए, क्योंकि वहीं से बन जाते हैं अपने देश के हीरोज। वहाँ पे अभी वो देखने के बाद मुझे लगा यहाँ से अर्बन नक्सल्स बन जाते हैं, मार्क्सिस्ट लोग बन जाते हैं, नक्सल्स बन जाते हैं, क्योंकि ऐसा दे रही है उनका ट्रीटमेंट। इसीलिए इसके व्यवहार में हमें दृष्टि रख के काम करना बहुत जरूरत है। एंड we say that Indian ethos says vasudhaiva kutumbakam nija paro veti gananam laghuchedasa udara चरिता नाम तो वसुधैव कुटुंबकम। पूरा विश्व अपना कुटुंब ऐसा में कहते हैं, अपने बच्चों के लिए हम जरूर जगना है। Which states that the tangible realities requires sustained efforts, effective policies, adequate funding, and robust implementation mechanism. This requires not only policy level interventions but also sustained efforts from civil society, academia, and corporate entities. I urge all of you to actively engage, share your expertise, and contribute to shaping a roadmap for an inclusive and prosperous future for our tribal populations. Together, let us ensure that tribal communities are not just beneficiaries of development, but active participants in India's growth story. Thank you so much.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और आभार मैडम। आपका जुझारू और सशक्त व्यक्तित्व निश्चित रूप से यहाँ मौजूद हमारे ऑडियंस को और युवाओं को प्रेरित और प्रोत्साहित करेगा कि आगे वो जनजातीय